Hi. Hello. Welcome. It's Tarot Tuesday again. Welcome, my friends. It's me and Jeffrey or Sugar, depending on the day. Welcome. It's Tarot Tuesday. I am so excited to do another version of this, or another week of this. I think this is our, third go around? Fourth, fifth, maybe? I think. I don't know. Either way, I'm excited. So I'm going to tune in and wait for a couple of you guys to come in here. Let me know if the audio's good, if the visuals are okay. I know we've kind of been having some issues with the visuals coming in clear and not cutting out. So if that's happening like really badly, please let me know and I'll do something about it. Or try to. I don't know if there's anything we can. I'm gonna tune in. Yeah, looks really good. Okay, ew, listen to my voice. Okay, hello, welcome. 'Tis Tarot Tuesday. I'd love to hear, I'd love to get like a nice little community of people at some point in the YouTube comments, eventually, to have people let me know how your last week was and if it resonated with you with our last card, so we can kind of like talk about it, converse with it, and compare how our experiences are in certain ways, different but still very similar in accordance with the cards. I think it'd be cool to have like a nice little community of that. So if you did have anything to share about last week and you feel like it resonated in some way, I'd love to hear about how the last week's card did. And this week has already started, so you might have already been experiencing some of the, I almost gave it away, some of the fifis and the juice of this card, because we're already on Tuesday. So I pulled this card on Sunday so I could like learn a little bit about it before we dived into it. So you might already be experiencing this, or it might just be something that you need to look out for the future, for this upcoming week. All right. Holy crap. Last week's resonated with me so much on that Tuesday and the 3 days following. Isn't that crazy? It's redonkulous. And it's become such a fun thing for me. I look forward to these so much now on Tuesdays because I really do feel like this is a wonderful guide for us in the game of life. Like people be playing like games on their phones all the time, not realizing that their actual life is supposed to be the game. And these are our cool little messages, right? So, yeah. Let's get into the card for this week. I've never pulled this card before, I don't think. I might have once before in my life, so I knew absolutely nothing about this card before I pulled it. This week's tarot card, is the Four of Swords. I'm gonna see if I get it a little closer. There we go. Four of Swords reversed. So there's a lot going on. We have a reversal this week. This is what it looks like when the card is upright. Give it a little gander, and I want you to really just peek at it and notice what you see first, and also how what kind of emotions that it brings about within you. How do you feel about it? Just for a moment. Your first impressions are the best. I think when I flipped it over, the first thing I saw was actually the stained glass window in the corner, which we'll get onto talking about as far as the illustrations. But that is the first thing that I noticed, which I think is very fascinating, because you want to pay attention to the first thing that catches your eye, because every single thing in the illustrations has a lot of symbolism. And it could be an easy way to tell you the kind of thing that you feel most attracted to right here, right now. As opposed to like if you saw the swords first, or maybe you saw the guy meditating more. Maybe so. Alright. My mic is pretty far away. Turn it. I'll turn it towards me. I think it's up as far as it can go. Thank you. Okay. So, let's get into there's not a whole lot of symbolism going on in this, I don't think. First thing, let's start with, honestly, before we even get into that, the generalness of this card is, this is an air card because it's in the suit of swords. So we already know once you realize that there is swords, wands, this is in the suit of swords. So swords are all about our thoughts. And this is probably the suit that I have the hardest time with. I have a little bit more resistance with this one as opposed to like the cups and the wands and all of those, because it's more about your logistic, the way that you handle things logically, the way that you communicate with people, and it's not my strong suit. So we know it's in the suit of swords, which means that it is in the element of air, which also means that it is going to be one of the zodiac signs in the air elemental, which is Libra. So this week we might see things through the eyes of a Libra a little bit more, which Libras are like, they're sassy, they're super, they usually like really aesthetically pleasing things. They like things to look really fancy and beautiful and gorgeous and glittery and bougie, yeah. And then the shadow of the Libras is they're very indecisive people, actually. They can usually never just decide on one thing. They'll go back and forth on something, and they just super indecisive. It's another shadow of the Libra. A lot of people think that they can be shallow, but no, I don't think so. Not all the time. It depends. So, it's in the number of 4. The number 4 has a lot of represents stability and having a stable ground, which I think kind of goes along with the vibe of this card, because there's not like a lot of action being taken in this. You're just looking at this guy, he's laying down, so he looks very, very relaxed, and he's sturdy, he's not going to fall down. And, the planet is Venus for this card as well. Venus is the planet of love, l'amour. And I think that this thing right here actually has a lot of symbolism for love, the stained glass window, if I remember correctly. And this is so funny. This card we're going to figure out is very, it could go either way, which is very funny because that's exactly how Libras are. So when I asked the question, I looked up, is this card a yes or no question? And it said, it's maybe. But it's leaning a little bit more towards yes. So that's a total Libra answer for yes or no. I thought that was hilarious. It was like, of course. This also kind of has like a little bit of a Sleeping Beauty vibe to it, don't you think? Super weird. Okay, so with that, the first thing that most people I think would notice when they check out the illustrations of this card is they usually see the dude right there. And I guess this is actually, they're in a church, actually, and you don't really, except for the stained glass window, there's really nothing else that gives it away, but this guy is chilling inside a church, and I guess it's a carving of a knight, so it might not actually be an actual person. That's why it's like yellow. It's just a carving of him on a tomb, and there are 3 swords hanging above him, and then there's another sword that's resting right beneath him on the tomb. Can you see that right there? It says, these are reminders of his suffering that he endured. So they are like, in a way, they're trophies, but then they're also just like traumatic, things that you bring back from a war or from a very unpleasant emotional or mental experience. Oof. I just got a hit of that. His hands are in the prayer position, which kind of, you can see he's sitting there and he's in prayer position. So he's probably either like meditating. I don't know if he's really asleep. I don't feel like he's actually really resting. I think he's still very much aware and conscious of his surroundings, but he's still in a state where he can regenerate his cells in a very meditative awareness to me when I looked at this card myself. You can see that he's in full armor, so he's obviously not, like in a bunch of comfortable clothing so that he's able to completely rest. He's still kind of like weary, I feel like. Within the church, next to the 3 hanging swords, is that stainless window. Illustrating, and you can't really see it. I didn't know what the heck it was when I first saw it. I was like, what is this? But it's actually a mother and her child next to each other. And it's a symbol of like the comfort that comes from returning to love after a long, hard journey. Cute, right? So that's pretty much all that we see in here. When this card is upright, I didn't look up too much information about what it meant when it was upright, honestly, so I don't even really know too much. But I think it had a lot to do with feeling like you really need... I think both of these cards, because it's funny, because the reverse of this card, which is what I did a lot of my studying on, could be either positive or negative. And I think it goes both ways for either if the card is direct or upside down, But when you look at it, I don't know. It's a very interesting, for me it is. The Suit of Swords is always a very foreign, explorative journey for me. But let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you have to think, what to say about that. Alright, so he's in a church. I think it's interesting that it's a carving. There were a few things. I wonder if I have them. Yes, okay. So there were a couple things that I saw online. I didn't want to completely just like pirate it, but I wanted to share it, and I just wanted to share what they said, and I can tell you where I got them from too, so I'm not being a douche. Let's see this one, and I think it was talking a little bit more about the symbolism. So it says, I'll bring it up right here. The man lying on the tomb represents the need to retreat and the clarity that can be gained within solitude. The man's expression and body language tells us that this is a time to be relaxing and that wisdom will be gained from it. The swords mounted on the wall behind him are a reminder of the emotional battles that he has fought from the past, and the swords below him, the one sword below him, signals that the battle has ended. And then there was this little piece. The reverse Four of Swords is calling you to withdraw from your external world and retreat within. Now is the time for a social media detox, a weekend escape, or a silent retreat so that you can focus all of your energy within and find your peace once again. Use daily meditation to calm your mind. So just a little tiny tidbit about basically the general idea of this card. I don't feel like it's kind of got that Libra energy of it could go either way. The pendulum could swing either way as well. You're entering a space this week where you're very high and at a very heightened state, or you've reached a certain low that has not been reached before. And you'll know by how it feels. And then we also have, I totally forgot to mention, our angel card, which is the card that we pulled to give us further confirmation as to where that kind of is for us. And that card is the Seven of Michael, which I don't feel like I'm listening to my guides right now, and they're telling me not to get into it right now because I should just tell you the whole thing about the rest of this card. so that once I do this card, you'll probably already have a general idea of which one is more resonant with you. Okay? All right? All right, so with this card, the keynotes for it when it's reversed. We did not get this card upright this week, so we got to be very mindful. This is the reversed Four of Swords this week. The keynotes are exhaustion in the shadow. If you're experiencing the shadow of this, then you might be feeling exhaustion. You might feel burnt out. You might feel like you might have like mental breakdowns this week. Oh, restlessness, a lack of self-care. Be mindful of how you're treating yourself. Lack of protection, which is also very interesting. Keep that in mind, the word protection, because it resonates well with the angel that we got this week too. Not accepting help when you may be in need of it, like either professionally or just support from a loved one. Losing your faith, and if it's in the light and you're experiencing the more happy parts of the reversed in this reading, then this week you might be deeply contemplating things that you haven't really before that are actually, of benefit to your future, and things that should be in mind. So you're having a lot of clear and, healthy thoughts about things that should be thought about. Finding mental strength in something, feeling like you have overcome something and you've come out of it stronger than before, and now you can kind of see that you're grateful actually for the contrast because it made you who you are, and who you are now is awesome. Awakening. We might be experiencing some awakening this week, or feeling like we can rejoin into the world, which is actually something that I've been feeling a lot this week recently. I've been very, very, very isolated these past couple of years with all COVID and everything. It's allowed me to just be a hermit, which I think has a lot to do with this card. But when it's in reverse, it's almost like, the coming out of that solitude. We've been nurturing ourselves, or maybe we're still in the process of healing, but we're moving into the direction of true healing, where you can feel like you can open up again. Recovering and healing. We just said that. Rejuvenating, experiencing mental peace and relaxation. Mental clarity. So, it's a very... This is why the Suit of Swords is so interesting to me, because it's all so much it's all mental. All of it is just the stuff that's going on between your two ears right here, like your thought process. There's not too much. There can be emotions mixed into it, but for the most part, it's just like that crazy mental dialogue that automatically is constantly happening that you sometimes aren't even really aware of. That's the kind of stuff that we need to grow more aware of, so that we can start consciously choosing what is playing in the background all the time, Because it makes a difference in your overall well-being in life, So that's what the Suit of Swords is really all about. Getting your mental space in a practice where it's a tool that you use and not something that makes you miserable all the time. So, the big key notes for this card this week are to get out of your rut. If you feel like you just stay home all day and you just don't ever do anything or try anything new, or you're not growing in any way, right now is the time to, build up some strength. Or if you don't push yourself. Obviously, this card is obviously not a card to make yourself uncomfortable, but if you've been having this inkling inside that something new needs to happen in order for, if you haven't been happy as well, if you've been not doing the best, the only way to change that is to start thinking new things and experiencing new things, going out and having a certain experience that you haven't had yet in order to start having a different perception about life, which is easier said than done, I know. But yeah, it could even be do something that's you find relaxing, even if it's something going out and doing a retreat with a group of people that you've never done before, or going to like a float spa, something. It doesn't have to be something super crazy. Another thing that it mentioned is actually going on like a fun trip, like a weekend trip or a week trip with a family member, which is super, super funny, because actually that's what my family is doing this week. And it was kind of like a super spontaneous thing, is they just went on a trip for a little while. So I was like, wow, how cool. Everyone needs to take a step back and do a little resting and recharging their energy. It's very different from the card that we got last week. Actually, I found the contrast of this very, very conflicting for me, actually, now that I think about it, because last week's card was the Eight of Pentacles reversed, I think. Or was it upright? I can't remember now. It was either the upright or upright. I think it was... I can't remember now. But it was all about having a bunch of hard work, putting in so much hard work, but not really seeing the benefits of it quite yet. Because obviously it's just starting, you've just started reaping the benefit, and you're not going to see the benefits until much later, once you have the consistency that comes with that kind of success, So you got to start and just know that with consistency, the fruit will bear itself. And you usually think the card after that is the card that says, yes, and now the fruit's coming up. So when we pulled this card right after that week, it's like, what the heck? It's a little bit... The card itself is actually telling us, too, that this is a time for relaxation. Like, you accomplished a milestone. And that's what the Eight of Pentacles is really all about, too, is reaching a specific milestone and mastering something to a certain degree that you have it automatic and you don't even have to worry about it, because once you just get into it, you do it, and it's perfect every time because you just know how to do it. And now we get this card, and I think in a sense it's saying, especially to me, honestly, like, you've become familiar with how this whole routine works. And now it's not something that you really even need to prepare for, in a sense, because you know what you're going to do, and it's usually spontaneous, and it's through just being in the moment and allowing what comes to come up instead of just trying to like plan everything. So now you can just take it easy and maybe not, I don't know if celebrate is really the word, but rest and be like, be a little bit more relaxed about it, and let the weight off your shoulders, kind of restoring yourself for the the next phase of the upcoming weeks, whatever that may be. Who knows, right? So yeah, it's all about restoring yourself for whatever next phase of our life is. Right now is a good time to just be... That's why I didn't get dressed up today. And it's Taurus season. I feel like it's a really good... Taurus and Libras are like besties, They just love to sit around on the couch and eat fucking potato chips together. And so it's just a time to be cozy and regenerate yourself. Don't push yourself too hard this week. Give yourself some time to just take it easy. And if you have a moment where some people are asking something of you and you're not feeling up to it, you're not feeling like you have the energy to do it, really remember what this card means, to be very mindful of having self-care and remembering the way that you speak to yourself. The actions that you take are a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself and how you care for yourself. So keep that in mind this week when you make decisions. I did that today. Actually a couple days ago, I've had a few moments where I've had people reach out to me and they want me to, take them at certain places and do something with them, when I just knew that I didn't have the energy to do that day. And I was like, I know I could do it because I don't really have anything going on, but I don't feel mentally capable of that, and I'd rather honestly take a nap and sit here and just be here with my inner child, And that's totally okay. And in that moment, it was super affirming for myself and helped me remember that I'm in control. Like, I have the say in that, and whatever I choose is going to be a direct reflection of how I feel about myself. Taking care of yourself, which is, once again, easier said than done. But yeah, and celebrating those little tiny victories too is also very important. So yeah, we got into that. Don't forcing yourself, but also not being very passive. That's another thing about Libras sometimes, is they can be a little bit passive because they just want everybody to be happy. So sometimes they just completely forget their own needs, and that goes in with self-love too. Remember, it's the planet of Venus. Venus is the planet of love, and in order to give love, you gotta have it. So really, I feel like this week is a really awesome time to pick up meditation as a practice. Really try to do it this time. I really want, like, whoever is watching this is your sign, that meditation as just early, maybe morning 15-minute practice, something as small as that, just one time a day where you consciously choose to try to return to the perspective of your own inner being, and to connect to God, and to see the perspective of source consciousness. You're not always going to get there every time, but it is you actually trying and showing that you're interested in doing it and reaching out and working on it every day. I think it's very, very, very important, especially this week, because this card is screaming at us about it. I think it's been screaming at me about it. I honestly think last week it was telling me to meditate, and I didn't do it, guys. We need to make a little group together so we can help each other put in the 15 minutes every morning. That would be fun. Anyway, for this week, I'm going to be reading the love reading, the money reading, and financial reading, as well as the health and the spiritual for this week. So whatever way that this card affects you this week, it might be in your love life. It could be more in your financial life, your health life, and your spiritual life. More than likely, since this is associated with the suit of swords, it's going to be more about your thoughts about that specific thing. Your thoughts on your love life, your thoughts about your job, your thoughts about, your body and your body image and how you feed yourself, and your thoughts on your spiritual practices as well. So if you are in the love reading, if you are coupled, the Four of Swords reversed could be that you're either recovering. This is the crazy part about it being, it could go either way. With either of these readings, it could be either way. You guys could be coming up from a very difficult period together, and, coming out of it stronger than you guys were before, as they say, or you could be feeling like you're like hitting a breaking point, like a very rock bottom in your relationship, and you're considering, departure, and you're not feeling it for whatever reason. You're having some stress and anxiety. Usually, obviously, you'll know yourself based on how you feel, but that is also why we draw another card to show us a little bit more clarity on that, which I'll show you it later, and you can tell me what you think about it. But if you're single, think of this as yet a prolonged period of recovering and healing from a particular relationship that has happened in the past. Since it's reversed, it can be a feeling of slowly feeling like you're a little bit more comfortable with the idea of venturing out and meeting new people and connecting with new souls who have like-minded mindsets and perspectives. You may be feeling fearful that you may never have another happy relationship, or any happy relationship for that matter. You may have never had a relationship, and you may be like, you have low self-esteem to where you don't think that like anybody would ever want you or desire you or want to take care of you or want to spend time with you. Oh, how sad. So yeah, if that's affecting your well-being on a mental space, then this card lets us know that if something that we're mentally thinking is detrimental to our overall health and it's really affecting us and our, quality of life, then it is a time, and we might be resentful and not want to do it and deny that we need it, but it could be a good time to open up to counseling or being able to, express your thoughts and your perspectives with a professional. Just a thought. Counseling, it helps. It does. And in a money reading, you could be getting back to work from maybe like a vacation or just taking a little break for whatever reason, or you might be coming back from like a surgery or illness, some type of thing like that. It's a good time when you have that break to you kind of come back home with a set of fresh eyes, if you know what I'm saying. And so I think now, right then, is a good time to really realistically examine your work life and your career life, because you have a certain amount of distance away from it, so you're not like engulfed in it and completely stressed out by it, because you're in the midst of it. So it's a good time to actually reflect and be kind of like, what parts about this job do I actually enjoy, and what do I not so much, and how can I try to figure out the balance between, any of the aspects of my work that might not, be ideal to me, and seeing if you can switch things up that might be more satisfying in your career. Or if you're not satisfied in your job, this week is a wonderful sign to put out into the universe to ask for new job opportunities or just new ideas on what you would like to do, what inspires you. What would you do if money was never a concept? Think about it for a minute. Is it worth it if you're unhappy? That's another good question to ask. If you just feel like it's a means to an end, like you're doing this just so that you can get something out of it, that is an exhausting chase, let me tell you. It's a good time to think about really pursuing your purpose. Financially, you may be recovering from financial pressure, or you're falling from the financial pressure. But you need to be open. Now, apparently this week, we need to be open to having more support from the people around us as well, which is where that motherly, daughterly love comes in actually as well, is the part where we allow the love from our support systems and the people around us who have a certain amount of resources available to us. And if we're not using it, it's wasted resources, and it can be out of pride, out of, resent that you don't, ask for help, or you just like, you don't want to hurt your ego. But if you do, amazing things happen. You just gotta jump over that little tiny hump and see what kind of magic lies on the other side. Ooh! Oof, got chills. Okay. You need to be open to the support that is available to you wherever you may be. And in a health reading, this card actually has a lot to do with health, I think. So, obviously, our thoughts are a part of our overall well-being and our mind, body, and spirit all together. It's a part of the vast ocean of consciousness. And so, if you feel like you're maybe not getting enough rest, you're not feeding yourself with the right things, you're not drinking enough water, you're not showering or cleaning yourself as often, maybe, or you just feel, oh my gosh, it can go either way, honestly, because that's how this card is. It's the total pendulum swing. So you could be coming out of that particular period of like, okay, I was literally in like a really, really like rough spot and I was not taking care of myself. But this week, I feel like I'm finally building up the desire and the energy to start doing that again and loving myself and showing my body that I care for it and I have love for it. It's a very cute card. So I think that our challenge for this week is to find some quiet time, maybe in the morning, maybe in the, I don't know, right before bed, just to maybe do a prayer. That's another thing. I noticed that the fact that this guy is in prayer, and I recently got this angel book, and I just started reading it like 2 days ago when I pulled this tarot card. And it just has like a lot of books about like certain prayers that you can do whenever you feel like you just want to remember certain things and connect to your heart and stuff like that. So I thought that was just like super, super crazy how those both connected to each other. And I couldn't help but think about how that's what I was doing. Like I usually never actually like put my hands up when I meditate, like how you do in prayer. But I did it that time and I was just like, this is such a cool little thing that he was doing the same thing. All right? So just pay attention to how you think about your body. How do you think about yourself? And how do you think about your thoughts about yourself? If that makes any sense. Yeah. It's a good time for awareness. There's not really much else to it. It's not a very action oriented. There can be a sense of restlessness that needs to be expressed in a certain way, and that's why we're looking out for other jobs, or we're going out to experience new things that might be a little bit out of our comfort zone. But it's not anything super like go on and invest in that new business or like create a whole, no, it's a more receptive time. It's a time to be quiet and go out and get a freaking massage and be out in a pool and just get yourself relaxed to the state so you can connect back to your spirit and remember the things that are the most about value to you on this crazy life's mission. This is a beautiful card. It confuses me because it's also mental, and it's very interesting to feel what goes on when I try to explain it. But yeah, I think for the most part, I feel like this is going to show up most in our health this week. But it could go either way. It could happen in your relationships or in the way that you think about your financial life. You could have a big old shift in how you perceive that. That could be cool too. And in spirituality, it just, honestly, it says the same thing. This is a time to meditate. If you haven't yet developed it doesn't have to be very long. If you haven't cultivated your own, you make it yourself. It's like a Build-A-Bear workshop. You make your own practice. Create your own meditative practice. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Make it as short as you need it to be in order for you to show up every single day, at least once a day. And just take that moment, that brief moment, to do nothing but have an intention to connect to your spirit and your inner being. And once you do that, and then you go off and start your day, every decision is so easy to make. You don't have that Libra confusion anymore because you know the answer, because you got the clarity, the mental clarity that comes from being connected to spirit. So, so gorgeous. I think that is such a beautiful card. Alongside that is the Libra confusion, right? Look how crazy my hair is. I look like a fucking troll. Okay. This is our angel card. And remember how I was saying for the reverse, there could be a lack of protection, feeling like you don't have the support that you need, which is funny because you do have the support, but you're not usually asking for it or open up to it. So our archangel this week is Archangel Michael. Another thing to do, angels are real. Guys, oh my God. They're real. Archangel Michael is the angel of protection, literally. He is the angel that will withstand any kind of pressure put upon him. He's fantastic. So he's in a meadow and he's flying. He's got wings, and you can see that this person is probably a Libra because he's at a split road. And he could go either this way or he could go this way. Funny how that works with the other card, huh? And it seems like he's taking the darker path. It looks like he's already kind of made his decision. But he's not moving forward. He's more on that side. But he's not moving forward. And it says, there is a better course of action available to you. Working alone may not be the best answer. Review all the details. Weird, right? Right? So I'm going to read a little bit more about this. This made me question my existence a little bit. Not like my physical existence, because I know that that's not real. It's just an illusion. But it made me question like my purpose a little bit. It was a very interesting feeling when I read this myself. There is a better course of action available to you. Ask yourself, what am I really trying to accomplish? Think about whether working alone on this project is a good idea. Is your unique point of view providing creative solutions, or is it causing you to miss important details? Go over them again. Your angels want you to be a success in this endeavor and are giving you a heads up with this card. There is probably more going on here than meets the eye. Someone may have ulterior motives. Additional meaning of this card is the need for caution and poor timing and running away. Right? So I was like, I would love to hear your input on that. If you thought what your thoughts are on that with those two cards together. I was like, oh, okay. So when I got that card, I was just like, what the fuck? And I was like, for a moment, I was just like, okay, what am I doing? And so I asked that. So the part where it said, oh, I'm on the wrong one. You need to ask yourself, what am I really trying to accomplish? I asked myself that, actually, and I did another tarot reading for that. So I don't know if this resonates with any of you guys, but I specifically did this reading for myself, and I asked, okay, what am I really trying to accomplish? And I just let myself feel whatever I felt with that. And I was just like, okay, with, you know, like the whole Twitch thing and everything that I've been consuming with my life, everything I've been putting my energy into, what am I really trying to accomplish through all of this? And the card that I got was the fucking sun. The sun. And it's such a beautiful card, so I wish it would focus. Come on. There she is. Gorgeous. The sun. Literally. And so I'm just going to top this off with me reading the sun, because I think it also works for us this week, is to ultimately, what this guy's doing right here is he's trying to reach this. It's that state of enlightenment where you are a child once again, and you remember that all of this is a divine, sacred journey. Thank you for the cheers! Thank you so very, very, very much. Divine, sacred journey, and everything is happening exactly as it should be, when it should be, and how it should be. So I'm going to read the Sun to you. This is literally, as they say, the best card to get in the deck. And it's the Leo. The Sun. The best card in the deck. The Sun is considered by many to be the best card in the deck. It signifies success, optimism, and everything generally working out as it should. The Sun is life, light, and vitality. The truth is, the Sun's energy, figuratively and literally, is present not just for today, but every day. We get so wrapped up in the dramas and the inner turmoil that we forget to remember this. Every day, the sun rises. Every day, there is a new opportunity to feel grateful for just simply existing, to make good choices, and to celebrate living. Is your life presently feeling sunny? Thank you! Are you approaching this moment with joy or dread? Libra, balance, one or the other, pendulum swings. Do you know that you can instantly change your feelings by changing your perspective? Mental. The imagery of this card is vibrant and joyous. The sun baby riding the horse represents the dawn. The sun baby. I wish you could see it. It's such a pretty card. The child reminds you to look at the magic of existence with wonder, not as a problem that always needs solving, which is another thing about the swords. Suit of Swords is, with everything being so mental, it's kind of like everything is a logical thing that needs to be solved, usually. You don't need to be in control of everything. Yeah. Woo. You don't need to run the solar system. That's the sun's job. But I'm a Leo. The sun baby is having a blast riding this horse. Horses symbolize assistance. I'll repeat that. Assistance. Assistance. These are the animals that have aided humanity in the growth of civilization. Horses made it possible to cross one vast and impossible distances. Horses symbolize that the help you need will come when you need and ask for it. It may not seem possible now, but solutions to the impossible will find their way to you every time. I just saw a most beautiful monarch butterfly when I said that. Wow. I'm starstruck. Why am I so confident that everything will work out? Because it always does. Don't you remember all the times that it did? If you can't trust this truth, then you may as well believe that when night comes, it will stay dark forever. I was afraid of that as a child. No joke. The sun is always up there in the sky, blessing us with life. We wouldn't be here without it. Even when it is hidden behind the clouds, it is always re-emerging. Even when light leaves our world each day, the sun promises to come back in the dawn. This is a fundamental truth for all of us. Light will always return. Surrender to the situation that you can't solve alone. Look to the symbols of the horse. Magical assistance will find its way to you when you choose to step into the light. The sun arrives to tell you to lighten up. Stop being so negative about life and things as they appear. It may get dark periodically, but it won't stay that way for long. Like the sunflower, turn your face to the light. Everything is working out just as it should. You can be as sure as this, as the sun rising in the east. And that is Tarot Tuesday! I don't know if that did anything for you, but I love this card so much, obviously, because it's the sun. I resonate with this card so much. I think this is actually the first tarot card that I ever pulled, which is crazy because it represents the Leo, and I think it does, at least, or the sun. You know, it represents the sun, which is ruled by freaking Leo, because we're amazing. So, I don't know. I liked it. But overall, for this week, guys, this is what we're going to be looking out for. This week is really, I think there was a certain thing talking about having like a social media detox. I think that was a thing that really struck out with me too, is I've been spending way too much time consuming media, which is not usually my thing. I'm usually more of a content creator for the most part, but recently, these past couple of days, I've been watching TikToks for like, 2-3 hours? Which is not me, like, at all. Oh, thank you so very much. I've never done that before in my life. I've always just been the one, the one doing the live streaming. So it's a super weird thing, and I don't feel like it's serving me too much. So I think I need to reconnect and get back into that meditative state. Go on like a little tiny social media fling detox, maybe. It sounds like a fun thing to invest in. It's kind of like a time this week to retreat from the daily stresses of things, the mundane type of stuff, getting out of the rut, stepping out of that crazy rat race cycle and doing something different. Because the only way to experience a new feeling is to try something new and break out of the matrix. So, yeah. I love you guys, and I hope you got something out of this. Please, if you're on YouTube, I'd love to hear in the comment section how this resonated with you, if it did in any way. We're already somewhat halfway into this week, so you may have already experienced something similar to this. I know I have. I'm going to be having a lot of alone time this week. But that's okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I love you. I hope you got something out of this. I find this very, very interesting. And I also think it'd be interesting to see what card we get after this, too. I don't know. I'd love to hear your input on how you felt about this card or last week's card. Any of them. Think about how much time we waste consuming useless social media. I know. Every single minute counts. Everything you give your attention, you're giving it. You're giving it away? Give it to the things you want to give it to, I say. Alright? Love you guys. Hope you have a fantastic Tarot Tuesday. Really think about the meditation and just having maybe 15 to 20 minutes is the recommended time to meditate. You don't really have to do any more or any less. I think it would be good for us. And if you're into the angels and all of that, think about asking Archangel Michael to come in with you to assist you in the process of meditation and feeling relaxed. He'll help you feel relaxed enough, to protected enough in order to feel relaxed, if you understand like what I mean by that. In order to be relaxed, you have to feel like you can let your guard down. So he's a wonderful angel to call in a meditating process. Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna go. I love you. Readings tonight? Yeah, I'll do tarot readings tonight. Why not? I'm gonna do a little bit of reading a certain book, and then I'll be back in a couple hours, you guys. If you want to do free tarot readings for followers, then we can do that. Or we could do angel readings. Or we could do, I don't know, we could do whatever. I don't know if people like the more fast-paced readings, the ones that I can go through really, really quickly, or the ones that are a little bit more extensive. I feel like when I do the little ones, like, there's long periods of time where, like, nobody's getting a reading because not many people come in. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'll figure it out. Maybe I can do a poll and let you guys decide. Either way. Thank you. Love you. Happy Tarot Tuesday. Love yourself. Treat yourself. Get a massage. Go to the spa. Yeah, this is your time. Take a little break. Love you.